What's up, guys? I am George Mossey. Welcome to the George Mossey Show. This is the medium session with clairvoyant medium Giuliana Fischer. Welcome, Giuliana. This is episode 5. We've done this 5 times. Can you believe that?
Oh yeah. Oh my God. It's now the fifth episode, right?
Fifth episode. Right. I know this is crazy. Like, we've done this 5 times. We've gotten a lot of really good feedback. And I'm just excited about this episode because we're going to talk about some things that are happening right now in the world that are kind of taking the world by storm. A lot is happening in the US. And I know in Germany, sometimes the things that are happening here don't always happen there. So I end up asking you about things and have to research or look it up or find it because our national news is not the same as your national news. So
Yeah,
I
right.
wanted to bring Gypsy Rose because she's a really big topic in the US. I know you weren't very familiar with it when we were discussing it before, but a little background, she was part of a Munchausen by proxy situation where someone is keeping someone sick in order to be their caregiver. And it's a very unfortunate situation because she was a very young child when it happened. And the mother, DeeDee Blanchard, ended up being killed by her and her boyfriend. And she was released from jail after 7 years, and her boyfriend not to be released. And I wanted to get your reaction to that because I know you hear stories like this. I know that our crime in the US can be pretty horrible. You hear the stories, it's kind of scary because a lot of other countries are much safer. Like I believe in your country, everyone doesn't have a gun, right? Like it's very.
Oh no, it's not allowed. Like in Germany, you don't can wear a gun by you just when you're a police agent or something else. Yeah, not as a normal person, it's not allowed.
It's probably really scary stories that you hear over here because we have a lot of crime.
Yeah, you have absolutely different rules.
Well, yeah, the rules here are very, very lax. Everyone can have a gun, and there's a lot of crime.
That's crazy.
So, what do you think about this Gypsy Rose story? When you first heard about it, I know it wasn't something that you heard about when it happened, but I know you've heard about it now. What were your thoughts and feelings about that situation?
I was really shocked because I never hear before from that story because in Germany it was not in the public. I never hear that story before. I was seeing the story first on TMZ and then I was talking with you and some friends in America and I thought, oh my God, that story is crazy. And I just thought, oh my God, I watched some movies and it's the same story. I think a lot of movies based by this story from Gypsy. And I was really shocked. And my own thought was, why the mother was handle the whole story with her like that. I was not realized why the mother was treating her like that way. Yeah.
Right. That was the biggest question that all of us had as well. And you're 100% right. There were so many documentaries and movies and TV shows made about this story. I want to say the first time I saw one of the documentaries was about 4 or 5 years ago. I think it was on Hulu. And it was I can't remember the name of the actress, but it was really good documentary, and it kind of showed what Gypsy was going through and what the mom was doing. But we don't know specifically everything that happened because a lot of people said, "Oh, we'll never know the horror that she really had to live through." We don't know how she had to deal with that, and we're gonna talk about that too because I want to know feel the way that she handled it because what we do know from watching one of the documentaries was she attempted to leave and her mom brought her back, I believe locked her in a room and punished her. So she really felt like she couldn't leave, she couldn't escape. So how do you think that influenced her decision to take her mom's life? Do you think that did she really believe there was no other option? Do you feel that way?
I think now after so many years when she was out of the jail, I think now maybe she changed her opinion or she had thought like, oh my God, maybe there was actually other ways or other options to handle the whole situation with her mom. I think now she maybe feel guilty for what she did. This is just my opinion. I don't know, but I think now she thinks maybe there was some other options and yeah, I think she maybe, yeah, she missed her mom and she feel maybe a little bit guilty for what she did.
I believe that that's true because the way that she spoke of her early on, she used to say that she was a monster. And now when she speaks of her mom now, she says, well, she's not a monster. You know, she suffered from mental illness. She wasn't okay. You know, she didn't have the mental capacity to understand what was going on and what she was doing. So I think that she does feel a little guilt for taking mom's life. Because in the end, this is her mom. You only get one mom. And I
Yeah.
think now that she's free, I know that she's thinking, well, there could have been other options. Like we could have sent her to a institution, or we could have had a doctor, you know, analyze her mental state, and maybe she could have at some point later in life had a relationship with her mom. But now, unfortunately, that's off the table. She can't do that now. And I think that she's torn because I feel like at the end of the day, she served her time and she's supposed to be able to be free and live her life. But I think at the end of the day, she still feels guilty, like you said, for the
Mhm.
way that it was handled. And I don't know how you deal with those two emotions at the same time, where I feel like I did my time, I should be able to enjoy my life. But I think she also, in the back of her mind, feels she wished she would have done it differently.
I think the craziest thing is from the outside, everyone thought, oh my God, that's such a strong relationship with a mother and her daughter. And now we all know there was another side, and it's so crazy. And it creeps me out a little bit that it looks like she loves her daughter so much and she just want the best for her. And at the other side, she was trying to kill her at the same time. Like, how crazy is that?
It's so scary because on the outside, like you said, on the outside, it looked like the most desired mother-daughter relation. They did everything together. They were always together. They were on trips together, on the news, you know, and the mom was
Yeah.
selling this to people. And the so many people were fooled. And I think that's what really caught the attention of the public, because no one saw this coming. When it happened, everyone was shocked. No
Mhm.
one could believe behind the scenes that girl was going through what she was going through. And the mom was very smart, very crafty. She was able to go from doctor to doctor, to get the medications that she needed to keep her sick. And you know, they're looking into the laws now to make sure that that can't happen anymore. You know, because she would pretend that there was a fire and she lost records, and then the doctors couldn't verify diagnosis, and they couldn't verify things that Gypsy was taking, and then she could continue to get different drugs. And when they searched the house, I don't know if you knew this, they checked the medicine cabinet, and she had so many different pills. It kind of looked like she had a pharmacy in the house,
Yeah. Oh
like
my
that
God, I
many.
saw that. Mhm.
That's what she was using, you know, to keep her sick. And it's just such a scary thing, because a mother is supposed to be the person that protects the child from danger, and this mother was doing the absolute opposite for her. So, and I think America's torn too. America wants Gypsy to be happy, and America wants her to live her best life. But we also feel, you know, we're not an eye for an eye country. You don't kill someone, you know, for hurting you. You know, there's a legal system, and there's a way to go about that. So America's kind of torn. A lot of people are like, oh, I'm happy for her. I'm happy she's living her life. She served her time. And then there's some people who feel like, well, we reward, you know, that type of behavior. That's not the type of country we are. We don't say, oh, if somebody is a bad person, you kill them. That's not something that we believe.
Yeah. I think it's so crazy for Gypsy too. The first is like I think she really loves her mother because she was the only person. She was her mother, best friend, everything all in one. And at the other side, you know that your mother was trying to kill you the whole time. Your mother was treating you so bad, and at the same time, I don't know, but I had the feeling that the mother was still loving her so much, and that she was afraid to losing her. Maybe that she can go outside when she's 21 or 18. That she say, "Hey, mom, I leave the house," and I think for her the craziest feeling was maybe one day she can be alone, and that's why she was trying the whole time to get her ill, that she take care of her the whole time, like she's an adult then. I don't know, but that's crazy.
I it's interesting you said that, because a lot of people said that she did have abandonment issues, DeeDee Blanchard, from parents. And I think what you said really resonated, because when, you know, this happened, Gypsy was 19 years old when this crime happened.
Yeah, I
So
know. Mhm.
at that age, that was a time where she could move out and leave. And I think you're right. She wanted to do everything in her power to keep her with her, and not
Mhm.
want her to grow up and leave. I think keeping her sick and keeping her dependent on her was the way that she was going to keep her with her. And I think it had to do with abandonment issues. I think that she didn't, like, you want to be alone. She wanted to be constantly in the presence of someone. She was married once and then divorced, and that's an abandonment issue in itself. And then when her only child, grew up and moved out, she kind of really feared that abandonment again. And
Yeah.
I think that she went about it a really horrific way. Like, I understand what she wanted to do, but the way that she went about it was just horrific.
Mhm. Do you know if her mother was treating, I don't know, like the same way from her mother or her parents? Because I have the feeling when I was watching at her picture that I have the feeling that her mother was also in trauma from her own childhood. I don't know. Do you know if there's something happened or that her mother was treating her like the same way?
I don't know specifically. I do know that the relationship between DeeDee Blanchard and her mother was not a good relationship.
Oh, okay.
That information has been given. I don't know, like, the specifics of it. I do know that there was a lot of abuse and it wasn't a good relationship. And
Mm.
because a lot of people said maybe that she was replicating the behavior that she saw growing up. That is definitely a theory. She was doing what she saw, things that were done to her,
Mhm.
as she was brought up. And I know that traumatic experiences as a child, they do shape you as an adult. Those things that you went through and the situations that you had to cope with at a young age, they can shape the way you make decisions as an adult. But again, everybody just keeps saying we can't justify anything that DeeDee did because this was a child. And I mean, you shouldn't do this to anyone, adult, child, regardless, or animal. This is ridiculous. But everyone just says, well, we can't really justify it. So I really wanted to talk to you about it because I'm side. We've seen the TV shows, we've seen the documentaries. We haven't heard anything from DeeDee, obviously, because she's no longer with us. But fortunately, you can give us a little bit of insight on maybe what was going on in her mind during the
Yeah.
time that she was raising Gypsy and the situations that were going on, just so we would have a little bit of understanding of why this happened. Because there's
Mhm.
always the why. When we hear these stories, we see these horrific shootings or killings, we just want to know why. Why would you do that? Of all the things, of all the options in the world, what would
Yeah.
make you as a parent do something like that? So when you were looking at DeeDee's photos, give me some of the emotions that you felt. Like, what was going on? What type of inner struggle do you believe was going on?
My first feeling was that she had a lot of feelings in herself from her childhood, from her own childhood, and that maybe she was not happy or that her mother was treating her like the same way. That was my feeling. And I got the information when I was trying to get in touch with her, so that she said to me, now the circle is over. And I don't know what she was meaning with that, but I have the feeling that she was trying to explain me that another person was treating her like the same way that she was treating, like, yeah, like Gypsy. And I have the feeling that she said now she can found peace because she had no idea when she was still alive to break the circle where she was. Like, it was a circle, and that was like a karma story. It repeats and repeats the whole time. And she said for her it was like Gypsy was breaking the circle where she was, and it was okay for her. And she's not angry on her or something. She was, I don't know, I had the feeling that she was feeling free after all that happened with her.
That's interesting. So feeling free, like, so that would mean that she felt obligated to continue doing this. She felt like this was something, that a drive in her, that she wanted to keep Gypsy sick. She wanted to continue this behavior. So after her life ended, you felt that she felt like, I can finally stop this. I can be free. I can let her live the life
Yeah.
that she deserves. Do you feel that Dee knows the surroundings of how she passed away? Did she know that this was going to happen? Did she have an idea that they were planning anything, or was it a shock?
I think she knows what's happened with her when she passed away, and I really have the feeling that she said, "Oh my God, I'm happy it's over now." And I never heard a soul that told me I'm happy that's over, but I have the feeling she was stuck in a state where she said, "Oh my God, I was going so a long way and I was treating her so bad, and I don't can go out of that circle where I'm staying." And I think for her to passing away is like she really can be free and Gypsy can be free. And I think that gives her in heaven a really, I don't know, but I think a good feeling to know Gypsy is free, she's free, and the circle is breaking. Is broke. Yeah.
So you feel that she has some remorse? Does she feel sorry at all? Or a
Yeah,
better question,
absolutely.
did she feel sorry before, or did she feel sorry after? I think that's a real quick question, because I know while it was happening, she knew that what she was doing was wrong. Does she have remorse for the whole thing, or does she
Yeah.
just feel better that it's over?
The craziest thing was sometimes when I was watching over the weeks at her picture, I really had the feeling that she was obsessed with demons, that she was out of control, that she was not in her clear mind, and that she was really, I don't know, like a really black energy in herself, and that she was not herself, that she was not mentally stable in herself. And I really think, and that sounds weird maybe for someone, but I think that she was obsessed with demons, and that's why she was doing crazy things with Gypsy. And sometimes she was by her own and she have a normal mindset, and then she was cool and she was lovely to her, and then she had at the same time another black side.
Interesting. So she was kind of at war with herself. It was between herself and then maybe a controlling her. So maybe she was doing things that something told her to do, something that was controlling her. And then she actually feel bad after she did
Yeah.
those things because it wasn't really her.
Yeah, and I think that's why she also said, "Now I'm free." I think she was like in a circle and she was in an energy what she don't want it to be. I think she don't want it to be that crazy mom, that hurtful mom. I think really that she was obsessed, and to passing away for her was like to being free with her soul.
I feel that this situation, because everybody feels that she was a monster.
Yeah.
And when you're talking about obsession with demons, um, does that mean that she sought out demons, or she studied demons, or do you feel like demons sought her out? They took over her mind.
I think demons was over her mind. I think that she was obsessed, and sometimes she was not knowing what she really is doing right now. I think she was like manipulated. She was like a machine, and she don't know what she really did. Sometimes I think she know what she did, and then she feel guilty for what she did. And at the other way, she was normal. I don't know. It was like she was like two-faced, and
Mm.
she really gave me the feeling that she was happy to be gone, that everything is over, and that Gypsy's free and she can be free.
Wow.
Yeah.
Do you think if she had an opportunity to speak to Gypsy, that she would tell her that she was sorry? Do you think that she would try to explain to her, what happened and what she did, and maybe try to apologize for what she put her through? Or do you feel like she's just at peace with the situation and just wants everyone to move on?
Yeah, I think that she would love to say her I'm sorry. I was not in my own mind, and I had a lot of traumas in myself when I was a child, and maybe I treat you like the way I was treating from my parents. And I really think that she would say, if she can say sorry to her.
Interesting. I wonder if Gypsy would be open to hearing that. I wonder if she would be open to knowing, what her mom is thinking and feeling now. Obviously, in the time when this happened, there was a lot of anger, there was a lot of animosity. She didn't really want to reason with her, and that's how we ended up here. But I'm wondering now, years and years later, she's more mature. She understands a little bit more of mental health. I'm wondering if she would be open to that conversation, because closure is very important, you know, and I think that I feel like Gypsy would probably be at war with herself right now. You know, like living with something like that it's never gonna be easy, you know,
Mhm.
to accept, you know, what you did. And I know she was only 19 at the time, and she felt she had no other option. But I know even after she did her time and everything, I know that she appears to be happy. But when you see photos and videos of her, do you feel that that persona of Gypsy is accurate or authentic? Do you feel like she really is happy, or do you feel that there's a lot of trauma that she has underneath? Because I can only imagine, you know, she has to live with this every day, and not just herself, but it's everywhere, it's all over the news, everywhere she goes, every interview she does, they're talking about it. So I can't imagine how she's functioning, you know, with that going through her head.
I think, and maybe that sounds crazy, I really think the time when she was in jail that she healed from all this stuff and that she was feeling free and that she can heal. I don't think that the time in jail was really hard or very worse for her. I really have the feeling that she, I don't know, she can found peace in herself more and more, and she comes out and everything was good and she was married. And I really think that the time when she was in jail that she found peace there.
A lot of people are saying jail would have been a little more free than what she was going through as a child, because people said she probably didn't find jail or prison to be as constricting as it was living with her mom. And
Yeah,
I that's
absolutely. I think the same.
it's yeah, it's horrific to think, but she was given more freedom in prison than she was in her own home growing up. Like she was able to make her own decisions. She was able to eat or the bath. She was able to do anything that she desired at the time she desired. And it's crazy as that sounds, it's true. You know, her mom controlled every single aspect of her life, you know, to the point where she thought she couldn't walk. It
Mhm.
was that serious. You know, she was being controlled to the point where he got up out of the bed one day and realized that
Yeah.
she could walk. And it's just, I think that emotionally, I'm glad that she is healed. I'm glad that she took that time while she was in prison to take that time to heal herself. And but what do you feel in Gypsy's mind? Like, you know, when you look at a person, you look at a photo and you can see into their soul, what type of soul do you see? Do you see her as a mean soul? Do you actually see her as a kind, sensitive person that has just been through a lot of trauma? Like, do you see anything black or dark about her? Do you feel like she's just a healed person now?
Um, I think she is mentally stable more and more, and I think to having her husband gives her a lot of energy, and to having a healthy relationship is doing a lot with your mind. And so I really think that she's absolutely okay. I know that she's been through a lot, but I really have the feeling that she really is okay. This is my feeling when I'm watching at her. I think she is thinking about a lot what really happened, and she realized sometimes more and more what happened. But at the same time, I think that she's happy and that she's feeling okay. And I also have the feeling that she's missing her mom. I think that she knows what's happened with her and that she realized everything, but at the same moment, I have the feeling that she's missing her mom. She had a really strong relationship through her. No matter what happened, I think she really missed her.
See, a lot of people have told the same story. I was
Yeah.
watching a podcast not too long ago, and a guy was discussing a situation where his stepfather was molesting him. And he said that the craziest part of it all was when it stopped, he was sad. Because he was like, even though someone is doing something terrible to you, you still love that.
Mhm.
You know, as humans, we love people, even when they don't treat us right, even when they don't, you know, respect us, they respect our boundaries. So he said that the worst part about it was when it stopped, he felt unloved. And
Mhm.
I feel like Gypsy might be going through now where she is missing the love, that side that you were talking about. You said that her mom did have a loving side, and when she was herself, she was loving towards her. And I think Gypsy might be missing that particular part of her mother and her family, because she didn't have a lot of family. You know, she grew up with her mom. Her dad had other kids in another family, and they didn't see each other as much. this was her definition of family. I think now that she's married, and she said recently, the other day, she's ready to have children. She wants to have 2 children. And I'm beginning to believe that she wishes that that's something she could share with her mother,
Yeah.
you know, losing
Yeah.
her mother, children. And it's hard to believe because when you've been through something like Gypsy, you would think you wouldn't want anything to do with that person. But, you know, there's that syndrome, I think it's called Stockholm syndrome, where people learn to love and need people that are very harmful to them. And, you know, it's a mental disorder where you crave the attention of people who do terrible things and you need them in your life. And I feel like her, she separates her mom into 2 different people. In my opinion, I feel like she looked at her as, when she was younger, as a mother, but now as an adult, she does look at her as someone who had mental problems, who made mistakes. She doesn't look at her as a monster anymore. And I think that she separated her mom into 2 different people: the person that did terrible things, and then also the person who took care of her since birth. And I think that it's a really confusing thing for a human being to try to process that, because we can't really look at people as different entities. But in the end, there's lots of different aspects to people. And I think you would be able to understand that the best, because you can look at a person and see their soul, and you can also see a lot of negative energy in there as well. So
Yeah.
there's times where there's several people in there. And I think that that's kind of where she is. I think that as an adult, she's separated DeeDee from the darkness. And I think that when you say she misses her, she misses the good parts. Because no matter what the situation is, there were times where they did enjoy themselves together. They did enjoy being mother and daughter, you know, and I think that he's separated the trauma from the love. And I don't know if that's a good thing or a bad thing. I'm not a doctor. I don't know if, you know, that's good for her mental state, but I think that she's not being angry. And I think that's a good thing. She's not angry anymore. Like when she talks about it, you can tell that she's at peace. She's not angry. She's not crying. She's expressing herself, and she's okay. She's moved on from those emotions. And I think that's the best thing that she could have done.
Yeah, right. And I think it's really hard if you got so much love from a mother, and then at the other side you have a mother who's treating you very bad. But I think the moments when she was treating her so lovely and like a normal, lovely, friendly mother, I think it's so hard to say, okay, I hate her the whole time, because she can't hate her, because she knows that there is another side, of my mom, and she was really lovely to me. And I think a child searching for love the whole time, and when a child gets love or gets some love from parents, I think they save this in their mind. Okay, my mom had always good times, always bad times, but she was also good to me. And I think that's the way she remembered her mom. Like, my mom was also good to me.
Yeah, I think that we do take mental pictures of good memories, because I grew up in a religious cult and there was a lot of bad things, but thinking back, I can think of a lot of good memories. And it's like traumatic experience, you would think you wouldn't find the good, but we do as humans, especially as children. We're taught to remember, we archive those memories in our minds. And, you know, we do remember the trauma, but we block the trauma out more than we believe that we do. And, you
Yeah,
know, I
right.
think a lot of the positives growing up, because when people ask me, they're like, oh, you should do a podcast on your childhood. And I was like, oh man, such trauma. But then as I would go back and think about it, I could still think of so many different things that I enjoyed, you know, with my mom, and even in the cult, right? Like even in the cult, like found good things and good memories and good, I've met a lot of good people. I have people that were in the cult with me that are no longer, that we're friends to this day. You know, we find a way to find a positive in a negative situation. And I
Right.
think that Gypsy's story has really shown us that, you know, she has overcome a lot, because I can't vouch for the type of child she had. I just know it was horrific. I could never understand what she went through. But I think what's really influential with her is the positive attitude that she has now. You know, after serving time, after doing what she did, she's out and she's just very positive and happy. And that was one thing I asked. I was like, is this authentic? Is she really happy? And you said she really is. She's really at peace and she's really enjoying her life. And I think it's very important that people take note. No matter what you go through and how horrible it is, there's still a light at the end of the tunnel. She's there. She's married. She's in a relationship. She's ready to have children. She's ready to start her life. I can't imagine what that's like either at 28 years old, just beginning to start your life. You know, some people are right. It's like some people are so far into, you know, their lives. They've bought a house already. They've bought cars. They've maybe even had a child. You know, she's just starting at the age, and she's so positive. I think that that's what we are taking from that situation, because a lot of times people who have been through what she went through, they don't know how to be positive. There's always going to be trauma. And I think we need to learn how to work through the trauma the way Gypsy did, because a lot of people feel like, oh, well, we shouldn't be praising her. We shouldn't be celebrating her, you know, because what she did. But how do you feel about that? Because some people say if she did her time, she did her consequence, she's to live life. Do you feel that way, or do you feel like should she feel bad still, or should she be allowed to move on?
I really have the feeling when I watch at her picture on the news that she is really okay. I think she had a lot of time in jail to realize everything, to think about everything, and I think she's absolutely okay. The only thing is, I think maybe she thinks sometimes, okay, that was maybe not a good option to murder her. Maybe there was other option. I think that's the only thing what's always on her mind. What's going on if she was still alive, or what happened if she was still alive? I think that's our questions in her head, what she is still having.
Yeah, I can see that. It's like an inner battle. You know, we always have that second guess. You know, we make a decision and then things don't work out the way we thought they would. And then we think back like, well, what if I would have done it differently? What if I would have taken a different path? And I wonder how she's gonna be able to work through that process, because in the long run, this is always gonna be something that affects her. She's never gonna be able to fully move on. You know, this is always gonna be a part of her, no matter what happens, where she goes, how old she is, if she's a mom or not. When you say her name, it's always gonna bring us back to this. Like, she's branded in this crime. And it's like, unfortunately, she's done with her sentence, she's out and everything, but people are not willing to let go. She's not able to move to a point she just be Gypsy Rose and not be associated with DeeDee Blanchard and the murder and everything. And I think that's gonna be a really big inner struggle. I mean, I feel like she's being very positive and she's moving in the right direction. I think that it's very telling that she's able to deal with social media, because I think when she went in to prison, she wasn't on social media. She wasn't allowed on social media. Wasn't popular. So the fact that she's transitioned into it and she's doing well, because, you know, social media can be a very toxic place. You know, people say a lot of horrible and judgmental things, and I think that she's transitioned into social media. And she has like 7 or 8 million followers. You know, it's a lot. She's
up so crazy.
Right? She's up there with some of the biggest celebrities in the world. How do you feel about that? How do you feel about her coming out and becoming one of the biggest celebrities in the world? And she's not a singer, she's not an actress. She is someone who killed her mother. You know, how do you feel about that?
Yeah, I told you that I was not follow her, or I was not hearing about that story before, because in Germany I never heard about that Gypsy story. But I think in America it was a really huge story, and everyone wants to know what she has to say and what's going on. And I think the whole American people are interested what's going on with Gypsy, and I think everyone wants to follow her because everyone is interested what's her opinion, what she wants to say, what's going on in her life now. And so I think maybe that's normal, because you all was waiting that she's coming out and can tell her story. Yeah.
So is that normal for Germany? Like, would something like this happen in Germany, where someone is released from prison and then they become a big celebrity? Or is that just something really only happens in America?
I'm honest to you, we don't have this crazy stories like you. Like maybe we have some crime stories, but you would laugh about that. I think we don't have this huge crazy stories like you in America. America is really crazy, and I think the most people are scared to moving on to America. Everyone say to me, "Oh my God, you want really to move forever to America?" It's so scary because there are guns allowed and there are so many rules we don't have, and yeah, a lot of people are scared because of America, because you have a really crazy country. Now you have aliens in Miami, right? Like we never have some aliens or UFOs here in America, in Germany. So you have a really crazy country.
Oh yeah, UFOs. We've had those for, oh my gosh, 100 years. I think Roswell is where they first saw them. Yeah, America is just a weird place because it's like it's where everyone wants to be, but it's all where everyone is scared to be. Like you said, like you don't know if safety is ever going to be something that they can guarantee here anymore. I think
Yeah, it's
that.
crazy. I hear a lot of stories. Every time when I'm watching TMZ news, I'm so shocked because, there's a brother who kills her own sister just because of present, a Christmas present. Like, I don't know, in Germany, I don't think that happens here. Like, it's really crazy, and that really creeps me out sometimes because it's so easy to shut someone down there.
Mhm. They it's There's stories where there was actually a story recently. I was just talking the other day about it. A student in Michigan, his name was Ethan. He went into a school and shot 4 people, I believe, and killed them and then injured 7. And he was 15 at the time, and he got life in prison. But the difference in this case was the mom knew that he was showcasing strange behavior, and she's the one that supplied him the gun. So she was actually, it's a monumental case actually. The mom was charged with 4 counts of involuntary manslaughter, even though she wasn't involved, but she was the one that helped him get a gun because he was unable to get a gun at his age. So the law actually is holding the mom accountable as well as the son. So the son got life in prison without the possibility of parole at 16 years old, which I think is crazy, right? They're putting children in jail for the rest of their lives, but also the mother as well is going to be serving, I think it's 15 years per count. There's 4 counts. So she's going to be serving the rest of her life in jail too. And even with these harsh sentences, these crimes still happen. No one is deterred from stopping them. Like people don't see the consequences and not do it. We still have these things happen very, very frequently. And I think that's what's the most scary, because people do it and they do it because, like, this particular person, he did it because he wanted to be known as one of the biggest mass shooters in the world. Like, that was his dream. He wanted people to know him for that. And it's like, what do you think is going through the mind of people that do things like this? Do you think that they're possessed? Do you think that they're just obsessed with death? What do you think is going through the minds of people who do things like on purpose? Like they do it and they plan it out.
I don't know, but to murder someone, I think the whole time people cannot be normal. People are maybe obsessed with a really devil energy, because you can be not normal to shut someone down, in my opinion. Maybe when someone is a rapist or did really crazy shit, okay, though, then maybe you have the feeling, okay, I want to get justice for someone. I have to murder people because he was a really bad human, but I never can explain in my mind how can be someone so crazy to shut someone down just because of, I don't know, some little struggle, or just because he wants to shut down someone.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's
That's
what's
crazy.
crazy. They're innocent people. I think you nailed it. These are innocent people. They didn't do anything wrong. Like there are people here in America that go into a mall and just start shooting. These
Yeah,
people
this
did
is so
nothing.
crazy. And we don't have this in Germany. I really never heard before that someone is going in a Walmart and just going crazy and shut everyone down. What the freak is this? Is so weird. I don't know. And that's why we in Germany, we really scared to moving to America because of all that guns and all that stories, what we listen from you.
So I want to ask you this: do you think that there's a lot more negative and demon activity in America than in other countries? Do you believe that
Yeah,
that's the case?
absolutely. Yeah, absolutely. That's why I want to move to America, because you are believing in paranormal stuff. And the crazy thing is, in America, there's something going on like with paranormal stuff. And in Germany, people are sometimes laughing and saying, "Oh my God, this is not real, and this is fake." And I don't know, they are not open for spiritual things. And we have to be honest. In America, there are the most paranormal things.
Yeah,
So
a
you
lot of
have the most
paranormal.
haunted places. You have the most craziest, I don't know, stories about paranormal stuff. Like, you are the paranormal country ever, I think.
Yeah, we have a lot of it here. There's a lot of mediums as well that are very in touch with it, and we've talked about that before. Though a lot of times in
Yeah,
America,
right.
the mediums are here for, you know, they want they want clout. They're not really here to help. I think it's interesting because you said you want to come to America and visit these places and try to get to the bottom of why these spirits are so aggressive
Yeah.
and why they're hurting people. And I think that that's interesting because there's a lot of places here where, the medium will go, they'll spend the night and they'll antagonize the spirits and try to get them to speak or make themselves known, but they won't try to cleanse the area. They won't try to help the person move forward, if it's even a person. And I think that it's interesting because if you were here, you could actually go to these places and maybe end the terror, because there's some of these houses where people go in and they literally will hear people crying. They'll hear screams for help. And it's clear that these spirits are in need of help. But then the mediums go into these places and offer them help. It's very strange. And it's like, why wouldn't you want to help them? You only want to go in and get enough footage or sound to help your show or your podcast, so you get a lot of clicks. And then you leave that struggling soul in that same place where it's been trapped for years and years and years. And I think what's interesting about you is you actually want to help people
Right.
and spirits. And a lot of people here in America, they don't want to do that. And I think
No, they
that
just want clicks, and they just want to go on YouTube or get more fame, or I don't know. And it's the same with the mediums there, I think. The most say, "Oh my God, I can't talk with your husband. He passed away, blah, blah, blah." And I don't know. And maybe the husband needs help, and they just say, "I just have to say your husband is missing you." Oh my gosh, we all know that your husband maybe is missing you. So yeah, it makes me so aggressive that I think the most people are just doing this for more clicks or more fame, I don't know, and not to really help the souls who passed away.
I feel like you coming to America would make a difference,
Yeah.
because there's so many. I was talking to you the other day, and I was like, I would love for us to visit some of these. I was sending you a bunch of locations. It's like I would love for us to visit these places and just have a conversation with these spirits and ask them, what brought you to this state of aggression and anger? Why are you stuck here? Why can't you move on? And is there something that we can do to help? And I feel like we could actually help cleanse these places of these negative energies. I saw you one, and it was like a house, and the owners couldn't even live in it because of all of the aggression. They would get scratched, cut, burned. These spirits are so angry, and instead
Yeah.
of people helping these spirits move forward and move and cross over, they go in and they just want to record, the sounds and the scratches, and they're like, oh, look at this, and then they just leave. And it's like, I feel like when you get here, I feel like we would definitely be able to go and just get a backstory of who these people are, what they went through, why they're here. Even, like, for instance, one of the houses, they found bones in the basement, I believe, that I showed you, and they didn't know who they were for. And I was like, well, what if we could find out who that person was, and give that person a chance to cross over? What if they were killed in that house and they don't know how, they're stuck there, they don't know how to cross over, and no one knows what happened? And you could actually come in and give that story, to the police, and you can help solve that, and you can help that person move, into a better place, into the realm where they're supposed to be. Because I can't imagine what life is like being stuck somewhere in unknown and not knowing how to fix it. I can't imagine what
Yeah.
it's like for that soul.
And I think the soul's getting aggressive because, and making some paranormal stuff, because you can imagine you are stuck in an elevator over years, and then you want to go out of this elevator, and maybe you see, oh my God, there's a person, hey, can you help me, can you help me, and the person maybe ignore you, so you get aggressive because you want to go out of the state. Like, that's why the souls are getting aggressive, or they trying to make noises or some things that people say, hey, we are here and we stuck here, please help me, I don't want to stuck in the state anymore.
Yeah, I understand that a lot. It's like I say that when I see people, like there'll be a homeless person and they're standing on the corner and they have a sign and they ask you for money and then people just drive by. They don't
Yeah, right.
acknowledge. And that's kind of how the spirit feels. They see you, don't acknowledge them. You act as though they're not there and they need your help. And I feel like that aggression and that they become desperate. And they're like, I just need
Yeah,
somebody to see me. I need someone to understand what I'm going through so I can tell them. I need someone to listen. And I feel like that's a really it's a really sad thing. But like I said, we have it here with the homeless. People pretend like they're not there. They pretend like the problem isn't there, and that we can't solve a problem if we don't acknowledge it. We have to, and I think mediums are really good at not acknowledging the problem. They go in and they ask enough questions to get clicks and then they leave. And we have to, when you have this gift, I believe that this gift is from God. I believe that the gift is given to you to help people. I mean, if you make money using it, that's one thing, but the core of your gift should be using it to help people. I mean, obviously, if you're using a lot of time and energy, you should make money from it. But your core goal should be to have a positive impact on the lives of the people that you're interacting with.
Yeah. And back to the topic what you was talking, I think when a soul is stucking so a long time in this state, and like in a house, the soul is stucking in a house over years, and then someone is coming at the house just to getting clicks, or I don't know. I think the souls every time think they get new hope that someone can help them, and then they are really disappointed that they don't have someone to help them to go out of this state. And I think to get every time you hope and then you are desperate because nobody helps you, that makes you very desperate, I think.
It makes sense, because even not a soul, just a regular person, when you're trying to accomplish something and you can't, but you become desperate and you take desperate measures, and you do things that maybe you wouldn't do normally. And I think these souls, it's harder to be, only certain people can hear them and see them, right? Like,
Yeah.
it's not the same as you walk into the mall and just say, hey, I need help. Everyone can see you and hear you. These souls, everybody can't see it and understand, because we were talking about this before. Everyone has a third eye, but everyone doesn't activate and use that third eye. I think we were discussing that before.
Yeah.
So we're all born with it, because you were explaining it to me. We're all born with it. And a lot of people realize it because children, especially young children, can see and interact with the paranormal so much easier than adults. And I think you were telling me the third eye is the strongest when you're the youngest, right? Isn't that how it works?
Yeah. When you have your third eye, when you was a child, it's so open, and you grow up, and it could happen that it blocks more and more, because I told you in the last podcast, maybe your parents say you crazy, that's not real, or you think ghosts are not real, and your third eye, it's going close more and more.
What do you think people should do to keep that third eye open? Is there anything that you would suggest that they could practice to make sure that they're um, staying open-minded to it? Like, so what, for instance, if someone thinks they think, should they convince themselves that they didn't, or should they explore? Like, what do you think is the best way to keep your third eye strong?
When someone comes to me and said, hey, I want to getting more spiritual, or I want to getting my third eye more open, I have a third eye spray. That means you make a cleansing by me, and then I can give you the third eye spray, and you can spray on your hand and touch at your third eye every day, and then it opens more and more. And if people have not a cleaning, I think the best way to getting more spiritual or to getting your third eye more open is that you make meditations, or you listen to fragrances and stuff, like focus on your own to get in touch with your higher self is the best way to open your third eye.
So, and when you're doing that, that's going to make you more sensitive to feelings, right? Like if I'm not mistaken, third eye, we'll be in a room by yourself and you'll experience the feelings of the entity in the room with you, right? Isn't that how it starts? So like if that person is sad, you might feel overwhelmingly sad or tired. Isn't that how it would work?
Yeah, but I have to say the most of my clients have different experience. When the third eye it's getting more open, sometimes they just see double numbers, or they have the feeling they can feel the energy when they go into a Walmart, or they think about a person, the person is calling. Like, I don't know, there are different things what can happen if your third eye is it's gonna be open. I think you have sometimes visions in your dreams, or you have the feeling sometimes happen, and then maybe a few days later it happens. Like, I don't know, I think you going in a feeling that you feel more and more around you.
So it's kind of like a collective of different feelings and thoughts. It's interesting you said that have a dream about something and then it happens. That's been happening with me like my whole life. Like I'll
Really?
have a dream of something and then like it wouldn't happen for like a year, but then it would happen like the exact same way.
Yeah.
And it's kind of weird because like it'll be like a conversation and then I'll know what's gonna happen. Like the other person will say the exact same thing and we'll be in the same room. It's really interesting because it actually happened one time where I was in a house and we were talking and I'd never seen that house before. I didn't know where it was. I knew who the person was I was talking to. And then like years and years later, it happened. I called it deja vu. And I knew what they were gonna say. And then the house was the house that the person was living in at the time. But when I had the dream, they didn't even live in that house yet. But I knew what it looked like. It was kind of freaky. I was just like, this is really strange because when I went to their house for the first time, the first thing I felt was, I've been here before. But I
Yeah,
knew I hadn't.
that means that your third eye is open. That means that you got visions, and that's how it starts to getting clairvoyant. That's a way to being clairvoyant. If you have visions in your dream or deja vus, and then it happens later.
Really? I mean, that
Yeah.
always happens.
So yeah, your third
Always. I
eye is
mean,
open.
I never thought that. I mean, I didn't think it was closed, but I never thought that I had any specific gift. Like I can't tell you like what's gonna happen. I can't look at a picture and see like what's going on in their mind or anything. Like the vision thing is like the only thing, and it's never been anything like telling. Like it didn't tell me like if someone was gonna die or anything. It's just like a regular situation that I saw happen already. Like it wasn't anything special. Like it wasn't gonna help me change the future, or anything like that. It would just be like a weird, like 5 minute situation, but that I saw happen like months before, which is always really weird. And I was just like, this is so strange. I remember this. I remember, and then as it's happening, before they would say what they were gonna say next, I know what they're gonna say next. Weird part is the dream would happen over and over. Like so I knew it by heart. Like I knew what was gonna happen because it happens so many times. But I never understood why that specific moment kept
Mhm.
replaying before that. I never understood why. I didn't know the significance.
Yeah, I think that your third eye is open, and maybe when you make the cleansing from me, that you will feel that you have more visions, or that you can feel more, or you dream more, and then you can see that the visions will happen faster.
I would love to have that. I mean, I respect your gift a lot. I do think that it's very difficult for you to live with that gift because it's never off, it's always on. So it's like
Yeah.
I want to have it, but also that it's very consuming of your life. Like every moment of your life, your gift is there and it's always on. It's like you get a car, you and it never goes off. It's always running. You can't really separate yourself from your gift. So that's a scary part. But I've always wanted to have a little bit of a clairvoyant outlook into life. I feel like people who are clairvoyant, they live a more understanding and happy life. They understand that life is a gift. They understand that things can change, and they adapt better to situations because they sometimes have a little advance notice of what's going to happen. And I feel like that gift is a way to give you a more open-minded, relaxed life. I mean, I get that knowing something very detrimental could make you not relax. You know, it could make you very stressed. But I don't know. I would love to do the cleansing and see if I could improve my third eye and see if I could do a little more, the visions, and maybe the visions will start to make more sense, and maybe I will understand what to do. That was my main thing. I was like, well, what do I do with it? I don't know if they're trying to tell me to change something or I should help someone. Like, I never understood what the purpose of it was. So I feel like that would be something I would have to work on after the cleansing. So tell everybody where we can get these products, because I want to do the cleansing. I know for other people, they might want to do the cleansing and they want to brush up on their third eye. They want to improve, how much they can be a clairvoyant. So what is this spray? How do we get it? And how do we use it?
You just can send me a DM because every product is just for you, your energy, and your soul. I don't have a lot of product at home. I just make products just for a person when I see the energy and when I see the topics to the person. Like, so every person have to message me a DM that I can see the energy on a picture, and then I can make the products just for the person.
Oh, I like that. That's what's it's a personalized product that can help me specifically. I really like that.
Yeah.
I think that the people listening, if you want to call or DM and order this, make sure that you have a photo and you put the voice note so she can get a good idea of your energy. And because this is a very personalized thing, it's something that is only going to work for you. You try
Right.
to share it with your friends. This is just for you. And, would you be open to having a conversation like with someone like Gypsy? I was gonna reach out. I know it's gonna be really difficult to get her attention. She's very, very, very popular. But like, would
Yeah,
you be open to
absolutely.
having a conversation with her, maybe giving her a little insight on how her mom feels and the remorse that she feels? Because I feel like that might be something that is needed in her journey of recovery. Even though she's recovered well and she seems healed, sometimes hearing those words and knowing that the person is really sorry, it can really help her, fully move on, because she says she's ready to be a mom. And I feel like I don't want her to move into motherhood any animosity or angry or regret, in that situation. And I think hearing what you were able to hear from her mom might be
Yeah.
something that would be quite healing for her.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and the craziest thing was before we record the podcast, I was searching for a picture if you had some questions then. And I found a picture, and the interesting thing was that I saw on the picture what I found. I can show you the picture from DeeDee. Um, I got the information from her that when Gypsy is going to be pregnant, that she wants to come as her child back, that she want to reincarnate as her child back. Like, she gave me the feeling that she wanted a second chance to can be by her and to live with her again, but in another life as another person, as her child, and to have a second chance to show her the love from a child to her mother.
Oh, so she would plan to come back as one of Gypsy's
Yeah,
children.
it was crazy. When I was watching at this picture, I got this information from her that she wants to come back as a child when Gypsy is getting pregnant. And I have the feeling it's not a long time. I really think she wants to come back very fast as a child from Gypsy and have like a second chance to give Gypsy the love as a child to her, what she cannot give her in the life when she was the mom.
See, I understand that. And I feel like she wants a second chance. And, I've always been a believer of everyone deserves a second chance. Everyone makes mistakes. Do you feel that Gypsy would be able to feel that it's her? Do you feel like she would give her signs, or do you just feel like she just wants to be around? She doesn't have to tell Gypsy or Gypsy doesn't need to know. She would just feel better knowing that she was close to her again.
I don't know. I have the feeling that she wants to give her the message that she say, hey, you know what? I want a second chance. I want to come back, and I want to be with you again, but in a lovely state, like not in this toxic state where we was. And yeah, I think she wants to tell her that she wants that second chance, and maybe to ask her, it's okay that I'm coming back as your child. Is that okay for you? I think I have the feeling that she's waiting, and I don't know why, but I think we should ask her for a session with us, or that she can get in touch with us, that I can give her the message from her mom, and maybe it's okay for her. Or maybe she say, oh my God, I never want that my mother comes as my child back. But maybe we should talk with her about that.
I agree. I think that she has every right to have input in that situation.
Yeah.
And if she doesn't want it, she has every right to do that, because I think that we don't always have say into who comes back and where they are in our lives. So I think it's important that she knows what's going on and she can have that. I think that I'm gonna message her. I know it's gonna be hard. I know she has some family members as well who are helping manage her communication. See if she would just be open to having a session and with you and discussing these things you've discussed here. And that way she has all of the information presented to her, and she can take that information and do what she wants with it.
Yeah.
But I think it's important that she understands that the information is here and this is what's going on and this is how her mom feels. So I would really love to have that conversation with her. So yeah,
me too.
We're gonna reach out and see what happens. And she hasn't really talked to anyone in the paranormal world so far. She's done every type of interview and podcast, but she hasn't spoken to anyone in this realm. So I don't know if she'd be open to it. So we're gonna reach out and see how that goes. We've run out of time for this episode. 5 episodes, guys. 5, right? It's crazy.
Right.
So I'm gonna come back next week with a new episode. And this was a really fun episode. And I think that we have another afterlife session we're gonna do with another person soon. So we're gonna try to get that one done on the next episode, hopefully. And always, if you're interested in the afterlife session or reading with Giuliana, make sure that you send her a DM. She's tagged in this video. Voice notes and pictures are great, but make sure that you don't give her too much information. That information she's gonna get on her own. So make sure that you're reaching out to her so you can book that. And I guarantee you'll be happy. These sessions can change your life. They give you the information and peace that you may have been seeking for many years. So if you guys are interested in that, make sure you're sending her a DM and you're getting those sessions booked. She books very quickly. So move fast. It's important that you want to get that booked. Thank you guys for joining us on this episode. Make sure you're following Giuliana. She's tagged in this video. Follow me on all social media platforms at Mossey, GeorgeMossey.com. Anywhere you get your podcast, type in the George Mossey Show, as well as anywhere you stream your music. Thank you guys for joining us. Thank you again to Giuliana for being here. I appreciate you, and I appreciate your gift even more. Everybody have an amazing week, and we'll talk to you really soon.
Thank you, George, for having me.